We don't need to do that. That's fine. Just after attendance, we'll just raise your hand if you're in. And if we don't, we'll let the old assembly vote for all three.
Scholar.
Yeah, not till next year. We would have had to have come up with this assembly. That's the issue. That's what sorry, the Constitution. If we're not in session, we can't. A referendum can only be issued by a bill, and a bill can't be passed if we're in session. When I hit this gavel tonight, we're out of session. I mean, that's the way that I would read it. I agree. I just don't think there's been time to have they consulted anyone? Like, you can't just collect a petition and expect you to be waiting for it. Like, we knew about it, but like I know signatures, and I know that Christians, like, it could definitely have happened by today if like they had been writing the legislation at the same time, like validating signatures as they went, but they didn't. They never approached anyone, did they? It's the first time I've today like formally worked. Oh yeah, I heard it was passed me in chapter a week ago. Yeah, it was like, I heard about it. Oh, this started as a week ago. Ministry. Did Rico ever come to you about the petition?
Yeah.
Because we were just saying that.
I think we're doing roll call for newly elected. You say Wait, I'm just gonna do roll call of old and new, just so it's easier to count quorum. Not for long.
They wouldn't do it now because they're like, we don't want to hurt our image because we follow through.
They want to do it? Yeah, they can. Just tell them no. Hit them with the gavel. I'll let you borrow it. Good evening. Welcome to General Assembly, our last General Assembly of the year. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Can we take attendance, please?
Sorry. So we're taking attendance of old GA and new GA. We're going to start with old GA. Representative Ateshlu. Representative Bagad. Representative Crawley.
President voting.
Representative Haas. Representative Hamilton.
President voting.
Representative Hammond. Representative Kawashima. Representative Mikowski. Representative Matthews. Representative Moser.
President voting.
Representative O'Brien. Representative Pandat. Representative Perlowski.
President voting.
Representative Shim. Representative Baisley.
President voting.
Representative Bell.
President voting.
Representative Downey.
President voting.
Representative Hoffman.
President voting.
Representative Lupton.
President voting.
Representative McCachran.
President voting.
Representative Shillo.
President voting.
Representative Villano. Representative Zoltan.
President voting.
Representative Brubaker. Representative Renard.
President voting.
Representative Pak. Representative In.
President voting.
Representative Fernandez.
President voting.
Representative Sedana. Representative Asaf. Representative Moeller.
President voting.
Representative Rudensick.
President voting.
Representative Iannitti.
Voting.
Representative Irizarry.
President voting.
Representative Zhang. Representative Irick. Representative Lutz. Representative Teichen. Treasurer Shaw.
Present.
Speaker Douglas.
Present.
Parliamentarian Agarwal.
President.
Vice President Nguyen.
President voting.
Vice President Thompson.
President voting.
Vice President Sanford.
President voting.
Vice President Wang.
President voting.
Vice President Weber.
He's here.
voting.
President Pinder.
President voting.
Okay, and the new GA. Representative Perlowski.
President voting.
Representative Bagat.
President.
Representative Hammond. Representative Wang. Present. Representative Moser.
This is next year's assembly. So if you were elected to something, you are present and voting on a separate set of issues tonight. I'll explain this as soon as we're done. Just when your name is called, you're present and voting. Thank you.
Representative Moser.
President voting.
Representative Matthews. Representative Shim. Representative In.
President voting.
Representative Mikowski.
President voting.
Representative Owoputi.
President voting.
Okay, sorry about that. Representative Rudensick.
President voting.
Representative Smith.
Proxy.
Representative Doroback.
Dorbat. President voting.
Okay. Representative Lee. Representative Hoffman.
President voting.
Representative Lupton.
President voting.
Representative Cummins.
President voting.
Representative Zoltan.
President voting.
Representative Shillo.
President voting.
Representative Beckett.
President voting. Or proxy.
Representative Fernandez.
President voting.
Representative McCachran.
President voting.
Representative Gunasekar. Representative Renard.
President voting.
Representative Lux. Representative Pak. Representative Hong. Sorry about that. Representative Irizarry.
President voting.
Representative Iannitti.
President voting.
Representative Zhang. Vice President Agarwal.
President voting.
Vice President Downey.
Nothing to that.
Vice President Hamilton.
President voting.
Vice President Maloney.
President voting.
Vice President Bell.
President voting.
Parliamentarian Brubaker. Not here. President Nguyen.
President voting.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
How weird was that?
That was really weird.
Excellent. Thank you guys. Well, let's do the pledge and then we'll talk about what's happening. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get going, so it is understood we have issues on the table tonight that affect both the conclusion of the work of this past 19th Assembly of Undergraduate Student Government and the very first bit of work for the 20th Assembly. So that is why we have two attendances. That is why we have a lot of people here. So please bear with us and we will explain this process as we go. Cool? President Pinder.
All right, this is weird. It's my last time up here. So this is our last General Assembly. As you noticed, there is candy here. That's just for me. No, that's for everybody. Feel free to take some. Try to take just one piece of big candy so that everybody can get some. But this is just kind of a thank you from me, the USG Exec Board, and Colleen for just being so awesome this year. You guys should be really proud of your accomplishments. So take some candy, enjoy. Hopefully this will be a fun but also productive General Assembly. Secretary Hahn, if you could stand, please. Just stand. So Amy was kind of the chair of our Relay for Life team, our USG SLJC team, and we raised over $1,500. So please give her and our team a round of applause. She did. Yes, thank you for everyone who showed up. Relay for Life was awesome, even though the weather wasn't. We raised as a university over $76,000. So round of applause for that also. Oh, 77. Cool. Okay, so it's still coming in, so the number's rising. All right, so again, as I said before, this is a really important meeting just because we have two really important bills on the table, and we are transitioning. This is kind of an interesting GA just because we've never done things like this before. We will be electing the secretary, speaker, treasurer, and fall election commissioner, and that will be done by the new assembly. Just interesting note, the exec board met last Thursday, and we decided that we will be kind of splitting the treasurer role into two positions. So there will be co-treasurer, and that will kind of take place in theory and in practice over next GA, and then it will be followed by a constitutional amendment. But there will be two treasurers. So this election tonight will be for two positions. So just keep that in mind as you look over the letters of intent. This is just to make the next treasurer's lives a lot easier instead of having a massive amount of work just placed on one person. Okay? Very, very important. May 3rd is momentum. Again, a very, very important announcement will be made about that will affect present and future student life. So again, I need every single representative, past, present, and future of USG to be in attendance. All the information is there. If you will not be in attendance, I need you to send me an email. It's very, very important so I have a head count of who will be there and who will not be. Okay? Sounds good? All right. Thank you once again. For the final time, I'm open to points. Representative Bagat. Restructuring for PR will be discussed over exec retreat. So that's something that the new executive board will be discussing. So no decisions have been made.
Thank you, President.
Thank you very much.
Vice President Nguyen.
So the Student Life Committee will be meeting for the last time this Thursday. I know you're all very sad. We have basically just, we'll be talking over what our accomplishments were this year, what we would like to be carried over for next year, as well as reevaluating the committee and our work for what we've done. I've been working last week a lot on the meal swipe, I guess, issue that's been going around. From what I can tell you right now is that I have been told that they will be looking into providing more guest swipes for students in the future, as well as streamlining the process of getting guest swipes via the Blackboard card swipe system. So going to Access Services on Monday to get a guest swipe may be a thing in the past. So stay tuned to that. I can't promise you anything, but that is something that they're looking into. One last announcement, and this is more, I guess, as my first presidential announcement, but I will be kind of creating a welcome back committee starting this summer to start working on the two programs that USG throws over the summer. These programs are the Welcome Back Dance as well as the Student Activities Fair. In previous years, these two programs have been just kind of tackled by the VPs alone, and I think that in terms of our developing caucus models as well as representatives' roles, we kind of need to include you guys a little bit more and kind of get you guys involved. So for those of you who are staying here for the summer, I would really like if one or two of you would like to join the committee and kind of working with the VPs and programming, you know, probably the best dance, Welcome Back Dance USG has ever had, because it's going to be. So let me know via email or by just talking with me whether or not you're interested, and I will start taking names for that. All right. Other than that, I am open to points.
Thank you, Vice President Nguyen.
Thank you.
Vice President Weber.
I'll just be brief, guys. Mass funding bill is tonight, so again, you just see group totals. I see a lot of laptops here, so if anybody has specific questions about why Group X received said amount, you can go to their collegiate link page, click on like the organizational tab, and then along the right-hand side, you'll see documents. You click on that. There's a folder that says mass funding, and you can view PDF versions of what the committee filled out there. So if anybody feels strongly or has any questions that come up when the bill's introduced, you can phrase your questions after looking at that document. Also, Finance Committee will probably be meeting on Friday. Look out for an email just to recap the year and reflect on how successful it was. Open to points.
Thank you, Vice President Weber. Treasurer Schott.
Good evening, GA. As you can look on your agenda, it'll show the summary report for this past semester. On the bottom I wrote that it's unofficial because I still do have office hours and disbursements to take care of. But so far, there are some changes to the table. The total amount dispersed is now $94,541.83. The aggregate allocations claimed is about $50,139.22, and then for the percent of external claimed, which is the external budget, which is the amount of money that's allocated to student groups, it's about 44%, and then the aggregate fundraise account used was $44,402.61. Per capita rose from 22.38 per undergrad student to 22.51. That's the dollar amount spent per student this semester so far. Also, I've noticed that for the past, compared to last year, the use of fundraised account has increased. So students have been pulling money from their fundraised account more, and they've been using less of the money that was allocated from their student groups. I just found that an interesting trend. And so this tells me that, like, compared to last year, students aren't claiming as much of the money that was allocated to them by USG. But also, this year's per capita spending has decreased a little compared to last year, which I thought was a little off. I was hoping that per capita would increase. It went from about $30 per student last year to now, this year is about $22 to $23. So I'm open to points.
Vice President Thompson.
Just for somebody who's not involved in finance, can you explain the difference between disbursement and allocations? Because I thought like they would be the same, but clearly not.
Allocations is the amount of money that was given to students, whereas disbursement is the amount the money that the students get back. Like, allocation is the potential amount that students can use. Like, for example, they're given $100, but whenever I disperse them, they only spent $98.
So why is disbursement higher than allocation? That's really my question.
Where?
Like, total dispersed is $94,000, and allocation is $49,000. Like, the allocation claim is higher than, or is lower than the disbursement.
Allocations claimed.
Yeah.
Meaning that is, like, claimed is like the disbursement. I should have worded it differently. But, like, when you claim the amount of money, meaning you were dispersed that kind of money.
Okay, I think Sarah wants to know what's the difference between money allocated to two groups, total dispersed, and aggregate allocation. I think he wants to know all three of them, not the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, money allocated, the total amount of money that we gave to student groups at the, like, during mass funding.
Okay.
So that was 113,000 about. And then total dispersed is the amount of money that students ask for. This includes both the allocated amount by USG and the money that was in their balance.
Oh, that's okay. That's what wasn't clear.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions for Treasurer Shaw? Thank you. Vice President Wang?
Good evening. I'm really glad to see a lot of familiar faces at Relay last Saturday. It was a really fun event. So Academic Affairs Committee met last week to kind of wrap up to see what we've done this year. Our major accomplishment this year is really study abroad and advising. As I said, study abroad under Associate Provost David Flesher, a lot of working groups has been formed. We're forming a lot of partnerships. We're having a database that has all our study abroad programs so we can access them at a one-stop shop. Advising, they're divorcing the first-year advisor's role with the actual academic advising. So whenever freshmen come in, that first-year SAGES professor will just be a mentor. Academic advising as to their specific major, that will be delegated off to representatives from various academic departments. So other things that, that didn't succeed were scholarship and the course evaluations. A lot of that is because of the lack of faculty support behind course evaluation, and academic standing committee was not very, did not give very favorable positions to that. So one of the other things, so to finish off on a high note, is that what we're doing this year, that's going to be carried over to next year. We're already working on things that's going to be discussed next year, and that's implementing advising and obtaining immediate feedback, and also SAGES, the reports out, and we're trying to make recommendations to make the SAGES curriculum a little bit more flexible for everyone. Especially, you know, when we have to take a USNA and a USSO, that makes it really restrictive on our schedules. So we're going to try to make that a little bit more flexible. Now I'm open to points.
Representative Bagat?
Just for clarification, in terms of advising, so let's say I'm making a question on the second major, what is so undergraduate studies as an advisor, or how would that work out?
Well, yeah, and that is one of my concerns. I think how it's going to currently play out is that the students should go to undergraduate studies first, but I'll see the specific plan of what Professor Feek and Dr. Linsinger has in mind on Thursday, and that will definitely be addressed.
Representative Cummins?
Comment on that. I was in one of the advising committee meetings 2 semesters ago, and I think they have like basically a core of faculty that are known to be really good advisors, and so until you get into your actual majors and those types of advisors, will be like these very good advisors that you can always talk to, and they'll be able to take care of anything that you need until you get.
And one last thing I want to build off on that is that group of advisors Steve is talking about, that will be on SIS. So there's a direct link to those people's email that a student can access. So it also makes it easier for them.
Thank you, Vice President Wang.
Thanks.
Vice President Sanford?
Okay guys, so this is my last time at the podium as well. So for the 2 events that are coming up for PR are Spring Fest, which is this weekend, so everyone should show up, and I also have a wonderful sign-up sheet. Please sign up so that I'm not the only one at our Spring Fest booth. Also, we have Twing Study Over next week, and we're going to do root beer floats, so you should show up to that too. The next thing, as soon as Mintry's done signing his name, the Representative Resources website, if you follow the USG website, go down to Representative Resources and click on it. Yeah. This is for all current USG members and next year's GA as well. So this is for you guys to use as different kind of resources. The first tab is representative documents, and there's all kinds of fun things on there. Basically, this is your online version of that wonderful representative binder. Tips, tricks, the new constitution will be on here, all of that kind of stuff. The USG logos in case you're designing a flyer or anything like that. There'll also be some sample flyers for those caucuses who would like to create your own flyers and post them. Those will be up there as well. and then go to spotlights, yeah. So all of the spotlights that everyone has filled out so far are already in here. Can you click on Dwayne Pinder, please? Because we have to thank you, Dwayne.
Yay.
Okay, so I'll fix that. That's his favorite quote, actually. But I'll fix that. Needless to say, all of the spotlights are going to be, you'll be able to see them for yourself, so we won't always have to say them while we're up here. Beyond that, there's also staff contacts. Don't click on that though, because it's not done. Recent announcements, you guys can post whatever you want. These are just some sample ones from Peter and I. It's kind of a joke. Don't take it too seriously. Upcoming events.
Go to the gang wars first. Go down.
Pull the gat out of my suit. We're all doing it though.
So you can also do upcoming events, which each caucus has their own calendar, and the exec calendar is on the front. More than that, there's testimonials. Some of our outgoing representatives have wrote testimonials, as well as our new representatives. The next section is event planning, which I know that caucuses and committees often have events. It's not done yet, but it will be. So if you're planning something and you need some help, there's always this. And then if there's something you want added that's not on this site, just send it to me. Okay? Otherwise, I'm open to points.
What if we don't have access to the site? Is that being changed? I know you talked about this before.
Yes. If you don't have access, you should have access as of right now, but if you don't, email me. Gary?
Representative Bagat?
And how do I reach that page, the USG page?
Representative Resources.
And then let email, I just try to sign you on there, but it asks for a Google account or?
It's your case account.
Representative Moeller?
This is so cool.
Agreed. Representative Nguyen? Vice President Nguyen? Jesus.
So I have a question about the want something added portion. Where does this, because you're not going to be here for next year, and I don't want to.
It's going to go straight to exec.
Okay, so just all of exec then?
Yes.
Representative Lupton?
Is the speaker aware that I enjoyed hearing her voice today?
Thank you.
Any other points for a speaker? Thank you, Vice President Sanford. Websites are a lot of work. Vice President Thompson.
So the IT committee had a nice meeting yesterday. We talked about our successes and maybe some things that could improve. We talked about any lingering IT issues, which there really weren't any except the slow internet. But, and I guess that's it. And I'd just like to say, despite what the site might say, I'm not retired. I'll be around next year. But at large, at least for the first half of the year.
Excellent. Any points for the speaker? Thank you, Vice President Thompson. So much love, I love it. We're going to open caucus reports, and I've asked all of the caucus speakers to give a very brief synopsis of what they've accomplished this year, because I did not do it anything close to justice at inauguration. So with that, Representative Downey, Engineering Caucus.
I would first off like to apologize because I know you asked this to be short, but trying to fit all the stuff that Engineering Caucus has done is kind of problematic. So, without further ado, Engineering Caucus started off with a year strong with some PR around campus, flyers, table tents, announcements in class, so that all the engineering students could know who we were. We went on from there to hold a hot chocolate event outreach to get comments from students. We held 2 meetings with Dean Tien, held 1 meeting with Vice Provost Feek, placed a student representative on the Undergraduate Education Committee on the, in the Case School of Engineering, placed a student representative where there was none prior on the Engineering Core Review Committee, held an open forum to gauge students' opinion, created and organized a survey to students to get that opinion, and then created and passed legislation based on those students' needs. We investigated more educational services support for students in 300 level classes. We represented students' interest to Dean Tien on space issues, and we're also holding a Freezy Pop and Kool-Aid comments this Wednesday with the Arts and Sciences Caucus. Thanks, Karen. And we will hold a year-end meeting to conceptualize and organize plans and ideas to pass on the next year's Engineering Caucus. Everyone just, like, Engineering Caucus, everyone, big round of applause. Thank you, guys. It's been a great year. Open to points.
All right. Any questions? Thanks. Thank you. Representative Downey. For Arts and Science, Representative Bagat.
Before I begin, I just want to say I was just on the Representative Resources page, and that gang war story is truly moving. It's hilarious, and I could see why you don't want to mess with Colin Downey now. Also, and I was also checking out what VP of Finance Max Weber was saying about Collegiate Link, and I think that was really great when I was going through the finance report and just looking at each individual group's mass funding documents. I feel like that's a really good idea that we're doing right now. Now, back to the caucus report. We've had a bit of a rocky year. First semester, we had a lot of people coming in and out, so it was hard to really coordinate. So we hit really good strides this past semester with integrating ourselves with the alumni and administration, and we've been working closely with them since the start of the semester. We've done several coffee and comments events, and we've passed that information on to the administration, and now we've been getting emails from different faculty and staff members asking for our opinion as well. So we're getting more networking going on as well. So next year, for the new Arts and Science Caucus, we're in a really strong place, and hopefully we'll continue that over the summer and on to the next year. Open to points. Thank you.
I'm going to clap for all the caucuses, because you guys are fantastic. Is there anyone to report on the nursing caucus? Do we have a nursing caucus here tonight?
We're doing good.
If you weren't already aware of some of the things that our nursing caucus did, between multiple outreach events, all involving cupcakes, they actually held an event to kind of ease the tension between alumni and current students because of a donation that was given only to first-year students that had some of the upperclassmen disgruntled. And they were a fantastic caucus. I wish I could think of more of them offhand, but Stanford. For the Weatherhead caucus, is there someone to talk about what you guys did? Representative Iannetti.
So first semester, we worked really hard to get our names out to the Weatherhead School. We held a coffee and candy event in PBL so everyone could meet their representatives. This semester, we've worked really hard to sort of gauge what issues are affecting the Weatherhead School. We held 2 surveys, both online and offline. We received over 100 responses. The 2 biggest issues that we found out and are working to tackle for next year are getting meal swipes in PBL and improving the printing services. We met with Jim Hurley, the assistant dean, and discussed both those issues, and he was really enthusiastic about us tackling them. So yeah, we're really well positioned next year. We have a 100% incumbency rate, so excited about that. Open to points.
Excellent. Thank you. Representative Fernandez, first year caucus.
Before I start, I'd like to apologize for this very annoying cough. It's allergic. It's not contagious, don't worry. Okay. So I'd like for the freshman caucus to please stand.
Oh. Show me
everyone.
Your face.
Let's give them a round of applause, please. They did an amazing job. Can sit. They brought forth concerns of the freshman group all together. We were the first freshman caucus to write 2 legislations, the merit-based scholarship and the smoking area created next to the library. We also advertised all of our representatives. And we also had administrative connections with the deans, Dean Amon and Dean Scherger, as well as all the other administrators. We also had events that had like feedback in the spot night. Some of you remember. We got a lot of feedback from students. Some of it was productive, some of it wasn't, kind of a joke. Last week, we had an ice cream event for feedback as well. Even though the weather didn't really cooperate, we got about 80 surveys. It was very cold. Ice cream and cold weather do not match. With this surveys, we'll actually be creating a final portfolio, which we will be sharing it with the next freshman caucus. And we'll also be sharing it with Dean Scherger and Dean Amos as requested. It's about really it. I'm open points.
Excellent. Guys, I just have to say that the work that has been done in caucuses this year, for those of you who weren't around the past year or 2 or 3, is unprecedented. We have never seen caucuses proposing legislation, meeting with their administrators, sending out surveys. All of these are completely foreign to caucus activity, and I think that the work that you guys have done within your caucuses on top of the numerous other obligations this organization presents is absolutely fantastic. So I thank you for doing that. President Pinder.
Is the speaker aware that he had a tremendous impact on the caucus activity and he should be thanked also?
You guys make it worthwhile, so thank you. Parliamentarian Agarwal.
Okay guys, last tip of the week from me. Very simply just says, please don't forget about USG over the summer break. Think about any initiatives you have while you're on the beach, laying around, any initiatives, any things you might want to tackle. Exec is going to be working over the summer, so would love to hear from you on anything having to do with welcome back dance, student activities fair. So if you'd like to drop in some input, you can email any one of us. We'd really appreciate it. Also, as this is usually my only time to really speak, I want to give a shout out to the Judicial Board and thank everyone on Judicial Board for all their time on the weekends helping me review those documents, Constitution and bylaws. We've literally spent probably, collectively six hours going over these documents and trying to improve them for the next General Assembly. So I really want to thank Judicial Board for that. And I just want to let you guys know that it's been a pleasure serving as your parliamentarian this year, and I look forward to serving you as your VP next year. Thanks.
All right, guys, we're going to get down to work. How this works tonight is we have old business, and this affects the 19th Assembly. This is everyone who's been here all year. I realize a lot of you are on both, so that doesn't matter. Newly elected and appointed, or excuse me, inaugurated representatives cannot vote on the 2 bills that we have proposed tonight as they were proposed by the original Assembly. Rude. However, when we arrive at new business, old reps are no longer allowed to vote because all of those positions are appointed positions of the 20th General Assembly. So your dividing line is old business to new business. So that being said, is everyone clear? Yes, sir. But they're voting tonight. They were inaugurated so they can vote on theirs. It's not official business technically, it's administrative duties of their assembly. So, it's different from past years, but yes. Representative Begat.
Are we quorum for both you and?
We are indeed. Okay. So with that being said, old business. Representative Fernandez.
I'd like to introduce Bill B 19-12.
Is there a second?
Second.
Speaker in the pro, Vice President Weber.
Everyone, so this is a document that I mentioned earlier. It's essentially the same thing as last week. If you'll look at the total that's at the bottom of the last spreadsheet before the next page of text, it shows how much we handed out in appeals last week, $25,769. So we're right where we wanted to be in terms of how much we've handed out. I just want to thank the Finance Committee again for really playing ball with the new system and being flexible and very accommodating. So I'm open to points.
Representative Downey.
Just going through the sheets and everything, why is United Protestant Campus Ministries in the very end of that? Because they're not with the rest of the religious. Were they after everything? Or?
Yeah, I think that is simply a function of it not being with the other religious groups.
Okay, but were they funded after?
Yeah, I had to do that one because of the system errors.
Representative Lupton.
Yeah, just noticing, looking through here right away, Case Model United Nations, they requested a total of about $360, but you funded them in appeals over 1,000, and their total requested originally was $360.
That's a good catch. That represents, they turned in initially a document that was incomplete in terms of how much they were requesting. They came into appeals with their completed document. We funded them accordingly based on the new document. That total requested has not been updated. We can look at the records and see what it actually has to be. That was Model United Nations. Good catch. Thank you.
Colleen.
How many total groups were funded?
137.
How many are still pending for whatever reason, no constitution, nothing?
A handful, but if they're at this point not in, then they're not going to be included in this.
And what's the remaining amount of all of it?
Based on the 125 that we had decided would be allocated, $4,017. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for the speaker? Thank you, Vice President Weber. Is there a speaker on the con? Seeing none, we'll open discussion. Any discussion on Bill B 19-12? If there's none, I'd entertain a motion to previous question. Representative Begat. Nope. Nope. When you move, it makes a motion. Is there a second? Second. All in favor of ending discussion and voting, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Okay. All right, we'll now vote on Bill B 19-12 and appendices as stated. All in favor from the 19th Assembly, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. Bill B 19-12 passes. Is there any? Congratulations, Finance Committee. Sorry. I was laughing at Vice President Weber, excuse me. Is there any other old business? It's a trick question, there is. Representative Bagat. Is there a second? Is there a speaker in the pro? Take it away.
Okay, so bringing this one back from last week. This bill is for the bylaws amendments, and the reason the bylaws are not back because there are no changes, with the exception of the grammatical errors that representatives pointed out to me last week, which I did change. No other amendments were proposed over the week concerning like anything that needed to be changed or anything that needed to be changed for the amendments that the Judicial Board proposed. So they are as stated from last week with the exception of some minor errors that were pointed out to me and I did change. So I am open to points. Or not really, yeah.
Representative Mueller?
Did you get the campaign merchandise thing worked out? So
That's fixed, yeah. That was fixed then, immediately.
Okay.
Other questions for the speaker? Thank you. Is there a speaker on the con? Seeing none, we'll open discussion. Representative Perlowski?
Move to amend whereas clause 2 to remove the word sound and replace it with wording, just for making sense.
Is that friendly?
Can you say which clause? Whereas clause 2. So say the meetings to revise and make changes to the bylaws to approve its wording and reflect changes in policy. That's friendly.
Okay. Representative Hamilton?
Move to amend commas at the end of whereas clause number 2, number 3, and a semicolon at the end of whereas clause number 4.
Friendly.
Thank you. Other points for discussion? Representative Downey?
I don't have it right in front of me, but is the point in there still about not allowed to wear campaign material on election day, even if it's already been done? Is that?
It was changed to say that you're allowed to wear campaign material up until the election day. So like on election day, you can't wear the campaign material. But otherwise you can. Like through the election campaign period. It was not worded properly in my amendment, but I changed it so that it said that you can wear campaign material up until, except for the exception of on election day. And that is the rule as the commissioner.
Well, before in previous years, you've always been allowed. So, I mean, I guess the reason this was talked about before, and I think it was brought up at last GA, if I'm not mistaken, it was because it was you thought it was a violation of, you're not allowed campaigns during that time. But I guess my argument for that, or question about that, is that you're allowed to have Facebook up, you're allowed to have all the other aspects of the campaign going on. Even though they're not active, they're still there. So I guess I'm just curious why we're putting this in.
Well, because, okay,
I guess what really brought this to my attention was in an actual election, so there's an area around the polling place where you can't wear campaign merchandise, you can't convene in that area, and because we had someone wearing campaign merchandise at our Chipotle event or Qdoba event. Does that make sense?
Okay, I guess I'm just not understanding why you would not allow any campaign material just because it was at the event. I mean, maybe stricter,
Are you going to propose an amendment?
I was opening up because I want to hear what everyone else thinks. If it's just me thinking that, then
And propose an amendment.
I thought it was okay.
Mostly because it's too hard to control Facebook.
Okay.
I think what it is on Facebook, you're not actively saying, it's not just one person saying, I vote candidate X. It's like you send a message from a group that says, vote candidate X, that says, please, don't forget to vote on election day. Whereas if you're walking around campus saying, vote so-and-so, it's just like, it's sending a direct message telling people to vote for that person.
I guess my comment to that, though, is that if you're on Facebook, and even if you're not in a group, if you look on statuses, if you look on anything else, if they have their status, or to change that, if they have a group that's up there, it's on the Facebook status, even though you're not.
If their status says, vote for candidate X, and they're in a violation
if
of the rule.
If they change that on election day, but it's already there.
We're going to honor some of the hands that are raised. Yes.
Can we pull the old English version up on the screen since it's not in the...
We still have it.
Okay, we can Representative Perlowski.
I think that kind of invasive form of advertising for candidates, whether or not you put it on before 8 a.m. Whereas Facebook is more passive. If you're getting messages from groups, it's because you joined those groups. Like if you see people with campaign material, you're not choosing to see people. So I think it's just the active versus the passive, just to ensure fairness.
Representative Hoffman?
I also agree with this amendment because especially for students who aren't part of USG, who are coming into the office to get food and vote, and they see USG members like wearing t-shirts or buttons or like promoting, I feel like it's biasing them when we would rather just have them come and vote on their own.
Ms. Cross?
I disagree with Representatives Kurlowski and Hoffman to an extent. I think that it's completely analogous to a Facebook status, assuming you put it on before 8 a.m. or something to that effect. Although I do think a clause should be added to say not USG office during that time. So, no, I can't move to amend, I don't think. But that's my comment.
Representative Hamilton?
I move to call the previous question.
All in favor of ending discussion, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, motion fails. We're still in discussion. Representative Fernandez?
Motion to amend whereas clause 3, where it says completeness and flow of bylaws of the USG to completeness and flow of the bylaws of the USG.
Representative Crawley?
Move to amend, but I kind of need to see it. But it would add that it would be limited to only the person running, only the candidate couldn't have their Facebook up or couldn't wear promotional materials, but because they can't control what people are doing, that those people would be allowed to wear promotional materials. Makes sense? Like no member of USG should be supporting a candidate starting election day, and no candidate running should be wearing promotional materials starting election day.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Yes.
Are you saying that if
She's going to speak in the pro on behalf of her. Since she's proposed an amendment, she's able to speak in the pro now. So, Representative Crawley?
Is it friendly? Can you repeat it one more time? It's basically, I need to see it, that any member of USG would not be able to wear promotional items starting election day, and any candidate would not be allowed to wear promotional items starting election day. But like you can't control if someone's, yeah, but your supporters can, because they might wear that shirt that day anyways, and you can't control them.
So you're limiting the wearing of campaign apparel to non-USG affiliates and non-participants in the campaign.
Yeah, I don't see how that's different from limiting your supporters throughout the election.
So the amendment is not friendly?
I'm just trying to come on the same page why it would just be for, why supporters would not be responsible for wearing campaign material on election day.
Because we don't have any jurisdiction over them.
Well, but the candidates have jurisdiction over their supporters. They're responsible, it says it in our bylaws that the candidates are responsible for the actions of their supporters. This has to do with anything. When you're sending mass emails during the campaign period, you may not know that somebody sent a mass email, but you're still responsible.
We're going to move into the amendment process. So Representative Crawley, will you please speak in the pro?
I basically just think that this would kind of alleviate the problems that we're discussing, and it would just be, if you yourself can't put up a Facebook status, but if someone does, you don't necessarily have control over them, and so it just kind of takes that if someone wears that shirt that day. That's not necessarily your fault, or if they made that, that's not your fault, and it's not necessarily unfair, and I don't think that a t-shirt or a button is that invasive.
Questions for the speaker? Everyone's clear? Thank you, Representative Crawley. Is there a speaker in the con? Parliamentarian Agarwal.
So this campaign, during this campaign period, I saw a lot of candidates sending out Facebook messages and emails saying to their supporters, making them aware of the rules, asking them to please not send any mass emails, please don't campaign on election day. And I think it's very easy to also say on that message, please do not wear any apparel in support of just me on campaigning day. So in that aspect, it is possible to control your supporters to some extent by asking them not to wear campaign material, only supporting them. And I do agree that it is a little bit, it does kind of shift, you know, puts bias on one candidate over the other. And I think it's just as easy to enforce this as it would be a Facebook message or statuses. You can easily tell your candidate, your supporters, to please not change their statuses away from supporting just them. So I think it's possible to enforce this amendment if the candidate is proactive in doing so.
Questions on the speaker's suggestion? Representative Pot?
So if the supporters wear the shirt, is the person who's running going to be brought up to the election commissioner? If they don't?
Just like if the supporters send out a mass email, unless the candidate can explain themselves, then they're still brought up. Well, they're going to be brought up anyway, but the punishment, if you will, is decided based on whether the candidate can explain themselves.
Representative Fernandez?
What if the supporter is actually a supporter of another candidate that's trying to get against the other candidate? What?
That is a much more complicated issue because that could also happen with a mass email.
Yes.
In that case, again, the candidate will be like, I'm aware that this person, I don't know, that was an election commissioner thing.
Right,
They
so
can't explain that.
it would obviously be up to the commissioner's discretion. And what I would have done is I would have looked at, hey, did you tell your supporters, like, I remember, like Divya said, that some candidates would send out Facebook messages saying, hey, these are the rules, don't break the rules. And if they did that, I definitely was like, hey, you tried to make sure that your supporters were following the rules. Good job. I'm not going to punish you too harshly for this. So.
We're still in questions for the speaker. Representative, nope. Any questions for the speaker? An open discussion for 5 minutes. Representative Lupton.
I have a point of clarification, maybe the parliamentarian can help me. Is this amendment, if it was passed, is it like contradicting other things in the bylaws?
No, because so far what the bylaws say, okay, do you want me to explain it?
Oh, you can.
What happened?
If it helps this discussion.
Originally what happened was the way it was written, it wasn't specifically saying that you couldn't wear campaign material on election day. Whereas all of our other materials did say you can't campaign on election day, you can't campaign on election day, but this was not included. So this is just clarifying that while candidates and their supporters are allowed to wear materials and stickers and anything that you can wear during the campaign period, it is not allowed on election day. It's not allowed on election day.
Representative Downey?
Making that clear.
Move to amend the amendment. Is that allowed?
Yes.
All right, move to amend the amendment so that it reads, "Speakers, clothing, and other wearable forms of campaign are not permitted on election day around the polls in the USG office only, unless the commission establishes, etc."
Representative Crawley, is that friendly?
Yeah.
That's unfriendly.
It's not your call.
Oh, to me. Not yet.
Could you repeat that, please, for the assembly?
Yeah. Speakers, clothing, and other wearable forms of campaigning are not permitted on election day around the polls in the USG office only. I guess if someone wants to phrase that better.
Does someone want to phrase that better for Ms. Cross?
I think that is a more fair policy given, I guess these may have been changes implemented this election, but that it hasn't ever been how it's been in the past. I can attest to that. And this leaves it open to the election commission to make that rule if they choose, but not required, which I think seems the most appropriate, especially because this was the first year that the changes were only implemented, if they were implemented. I'm not really sure what's going on here.
Okay. Any other points? Representative Mullen.
I'm fine with this, for the record.
Representative Perlowski.
I think this sounds like a very fair compromise for students to now be on where it's appropriate.
Representative Schillo.
Would that include like USG representatives can also wear like promotional shirts like not around the polls, like?
As stated currently, yes.
So USG representatives would still allow to wear the clothes around campus, but not in front?
Proposed amendment only restricted the USG office in terms of what could be worn.
And not the people at all?
Correct. President Pinder?
Call previous question.
I called a previous question means that there is an abstention. The motion does not carry. Is anyone opposed to ending discussion? Okay, motion fails. Representative Crawley?
I want to remind everyone how good of PR elections is for USG when people are wearing promotional items and there are flyers up and there are lots of things going on. People are reminded that everyone cares about USG. And the more fun we can make it and the more out there we can make it, the better.
Representative O'Brien?
Okay, I don't think it's a matter of how fun. I think there's two points. One is just a matter of consistency. There's no form of active campaign to vote for Dwayne after the election, on election day. That includes Facebook messages, all the other things. So why should we allow some proactive campaigning in a form of clothing? And then secondly, I think it's just a matter of ethics, because if I have a shirt on that says vote Dwayne, I'm walking around the quad with my laptop saying, hey, you voted in the USG elections. I think there's a conflict of interest there that potentially leads to, I don't want to call it voter intimidation because it's just the USG election, but something similar to what people call voter intimidation in general, real world elections. I think that ethical part is what I find really appalling about the fact that you would be able to allow to wear vote Dwayne or vote for whoever during the election period.
Representative Baisley?
Yeah, I actually agree with both those points. I think it's inconsistent, just reiterating what he said, that we're not allowing other forms of advertising. This is clearly an active form. I don't think we should allow. And I also think, just about the logistics of this, I think it's going to get really sticky. Like, we're specifying these specific locations on campus where you can't wear things. Well, what if one of those people wants to go vote or go get Canova? I mean, I think it's going to get really sticky. Like, well, I just have to run to the USG real quick and do something, or I just want to vote, or like, I don't think specifics like this should be in the bylaws. Just don't allow an election day. We don't allow other campaign message.
Representative Hoffman?
I also support Representative Baisley, especially because when we say not around the USG polls in the USG office, but since the elections take place online, the polls can be anywhere, as Representative Brian said. So, I mean, really, like, where are the polls? And so I think we should try to be as consistent as possible.
Last point, Representative Downey?
So I guess I'll address those concerns. The first one was consistency. So on Facebook, you're right, the messages are only sent to people who are in those groups. However, Facebook is, I'm not sure if you'd call it proactive, but it's definitely not passive. Like, I'm guessing there's at least several people on Facebook right now on their phone or a computer in some way. I mean, people are on it all the time. And so that's in their face all the time. And so like, I don't really see a huge difference between that on campaign day and t-shirts. And so if you're gonna say it for t-shirts, say it for like Facebook too. And I guess for the second, oh, okay, well, no, because you're still allowed to have events, you're still allowed to have all that stuff still on Facebook. You're not allowed to send messages, that kind of thing. But it's still out there. I mean, that's what I was trying to get at before.
Okay. That is time for discussion. Someone will need to do something. Vice President Wynn?
I move the previous question.
All in favor of voting, please signify by raising your hand. Okay. All opposed? All right. We will vote on the amendment as stated to limit the wearing of campaign-affiliated apparel in the polling area of the USG office. So all in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Abstentions? Okay. The amendment fails. We are back into Bill B 19-13 as originally stated. Representative Hamilton.
Move to call the previous question.
Okay. All in favor of ending discussion and voting, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? There's no abstentions. All right, we will vote on Bill B19-13 as amended. Please, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Hi, please.
The friendly amendments that were proposed. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Bill B1913 passes. Any other old business? We will now move into new business, which are elections, which means that if you just voted on Bill B1913, congratulations that you, unless you were reelected, you just voted on your last piece of legislation ever, unless you come back to vote later. Yeah, either way, just clap for it. That was the end goal. That's what we were working towards. We're going to begin with elections for Speaker. Currently nominated are Sayako Kawashima, Allison Prolaski, and Shangbo Wang. Are there any other nominations? Okay. Nominations are now closed. Seeing none, we will begin in alphabetical order by last name. So if Representative Prolaski and Representative Wang could please step outside. Absolutely.
If you didn't receive it, I have extra copies. I sent out some suggested questions.
There we go.
If you are interested in a copy, these are just suggestions to keep things interesting and moving, and I don't know if anybody else wants a copy, but I brought extra. Anyone's interested?
And Alan Shangbo, so you're aware you're going to have 1 minute to speak and 2 minutes for questions. Everyone sounds really angry. We'll do 30 seconds to speak and 1 minute for questions. Just thought they were exact positions. You'd have a lot more to say. That wasn't a judgment. Representative Kawashima, please take the podium. Colleen, thank you.
Point of information.
Yes, sir.
Where's the candy bowl?
That is a very good question.
It's hiding in it.
Jay wants to.
Sorry.
He was greedy.
Representative Kawashima, the floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, General Assembly. My name is Sayako Kawashima, and I am a junior in the College of Arts and Science. And I would like to be your new speaker. I hope everyone had a chance to read my long letter of intent. The main point I like to make to get across is I want to be speaker. I decided not to run for elections this spring because I wanted the position of speaker. I'd like to be your speaker so I could give back to USG by running effective, efficient meetings, as well as help caucuses be, as President Pinder explained, engines of legislation, and myself be a representative of the representatives as current Speaker Douglas explained. So I hope you'll give me the opportunity to be your new Speaker of the Assembly. Any questions?
Questions for Ms. Kawashima.
And that should have been 30 seconds.
Representative Hamilton.
Is there anything you have in mind that you think you can do as speaker to like improve what's going on?
First, I want to run, I think the biggest, most open role that the speaker has is running GA. So really want to make them efficient and effective. As one thing that Speaker Douglas has done is to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of direct open forum or discussion is what I was looking for, discussion. So continue with that. Also, you know, I want to make them efficient, but also want to make sure that every representative has their opinion heard. Also, regarding working the caucuses, definitely meet with caucuses on a regular basis, especially speakers as well. You know, try to go to as many caucus meetings as I can and make myself available overall.
Representative Brubaker.
What are your plans specifically for the freshman caucus when they come in next year?
For freshman caucus, I will, I guess, definitely help them get used to General Assembly. I don't remember who exactly it was, but I think there was an idea of having more like a
mentor between previous representatives with the freshmen and there's also new representatives. So they have kind of like a buddy system. So move forward with ideas like that and just, get them to know USG and get them to enjoy their time as a representative.
Representative Hoffman.
I know one of the times that I felt Bruce did a really important job was when the debate team came in and was a little hostile. How do you see yourself handling sticky situations when you need to remain very professional and so that it's fun?
So I wrote in a letter of intent. Last summer I was a camp director for a summer camp with children with developmental disabilities, and I've had a parent cry. I've had parents, just say awful things to me. So I have been placed in sticky situations. So of course, the first thing is definitely maintain professionalism. And I think what was really important is to show respect for both parties. Of course, being a member of USG, but as well as showing respect to I wouldn't say opposing, but the other side as well.
Last question. Oh, just kidding. There were more hands up. Thank you, Representative Kawashima.
You're welcome. Thank
Please
you.
Step outside. Allie? Take it away.
Hi, GA. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Allie Perlosky. This is my second year on USG. I'm currently on the Arts and Sciences Caucus. I've also served on the Engineering Caucus during my sophomore year, which has given me a really unique experience, having the opportunity to serve on two very different caucuses for two very different schools. I'm also involved in Delta Gamma and on the Orientation Executive Board. You can see that in my letter of intent. But I feel like my opportunity of having worked with two very different caucuses gives me a very unique standpoint and a lot of assets to the Speaker of the Assembly position. All of the caucuses function very differently because the needs of the schools are very drastically different. And some of the caucuses are working very hard to create transition documents, such as the Engineering Caucus and the First Year Caucus, to make sure that the great strides that they've made this year are really going to be lasting. And that's something that I definitely want to see carried out and done very formally for all of the caucuses. I am really excited about this. I really think that my experience, especially with Orientation Executive Board, has allowed me to learn how to make the most of a very large group of people, keeping meetings very efficient and effective while still having a lot of fun. Because if you're not having fun on USG, what's the point of being here? You learn a lot, but you should really be enjoying what you're doing too. So I feel like that's one of my great assets. I apologize, I'm a little nervous, but I'm definitely working on my public speaking skills. My experience with Robert's Rules is limited to my experience on USG, but I do have a great copy promised to me from my grandfather, and I am taking it very seriously, learning the ins and outs of it, and kind of getting the input of both President Pinder, who served as our previous speaker, and Speaker Douglas on kind of how USG takes Robert's Rules. So I have been working hard to kind of get a broader understanding of how we're functioning within that. That's just
time. Sorry, are there any questions? Senator Hoffman?
So I think about one of the times that Speaker Douglas did a really excellent job was when the debate team came in and was a little hostile and emotional. So how do you see yourself fulfilling the same role or being in those shoes?
I think that it is really important that while we do keep our general format to Robert's Rules, is to know that we can keep it kind of abbreviated in order to best suit our assembly. So taking time to have direct discussion with an open forum has been really helpful, especially under Speaker Douglas's guidance. So that's something I see as being something I would want to continue, and especially making sure that time limits are kept and that we're very respectful to the people who are speaking, especially with very sensitive issues, and then taking the time to also ensure that people know that we can take these discussions outside of General Assembly where it will be less heated.
Representative O'Brien?
Could you describe, like, maybe in a word or two, your work ethic, and then provide an instance that reflects that strength?
I would say my work ethic is compassionate enthusiasm, because I like to take the time to really know the group of people that I'm working with. I think that's the best way to lead a group, is to really get to know where people are coming from, especially with leading the caucuses, familiarizing myself with not only their speaker, but all of their representatives, and helping them to learn what the issues are, taking it and kind of guiding them through that. And I also find I feel I'm very compassionate, because it does take a lot to lead a large group, and understanding that, there are priorities, and just kind of making sure I'm aware of the needs of the representatives and that those are always being filled.
Representative Lupton?
What is your workload class-wise compare from, I guess, this year to next year?
This year I'm taking 5 classes. I'll be taking 5 in the fall. One of them is jewelry and enameling, which is my fun class. But I do have a rigorous workload. I'm going to be in my senior year, but out of 4.5 years. But it's, a very, very controlled. I consider myself to be very on top of my work, and I really do devote my time outside of class not to my sorority, but primarily to USG. Those are really my only time commitments. I've found that it makes me be able to be involved deeper when I'm involved in less things. So I'm really keeping myself to what I care about.
Ms. Cross?
Do you have a new direction for the position?
I think that the direction we've gone in this year has been really amazing, but I do think that my primary goal is to kind of incorporate more fun into USG, whether it's having themed GAs or bringing back the infamous speaker's word of the day, and having candy or prizes for that, because I think a fun atmosphere will make us not only enjoy ourselves more, but make us more productive, because we have a goal to work towards. And I've also talked about an incentive program in my letter of intent, because we do have a USG morale budget, maybe utilizing that if representatives do come to GA in business apparel for all of the general assemblies of the year, having a reward for that. So it would build a little bit of friendly competition and an incentive to be here on time in appropriate clothing.
Thank you, Representative Brolowski.
All right, just for clarification, it's 30 seconds, right, not a minute? Okay.
Yep, you're already 7 deep though, so I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Love you too, Bruce. All right. So I'm Shane Bowe, and I'm the current Vice President of Academic Affairs, and I'm running for Speaker tonight because I want to do something different. Like Speaker Douglas said earlier, what the caucuses have done this year is unprecedented, and I really just want to continue those efforts as Speaker. I understand that the Speaker has 2 important duties. I am the liaison between the caucuses and the Exec Committee. I have experience working on Exec this year as a Vice President, and my position has given me actual experience to work with each caucus this year. You can see what I've done in my letter of intent. And my second job is to run meetings, and I have experience for that as a Vice President. Now, my committee members can attest to the fact that I am not super serious at all when I run my meetings. All right, so just keep that in mind. And also, the other thing is Robert's Rules. I have a very big, very deep understanding for that. I've been participating in Congress since high school, so I've been using that for a lot. And so finally, I spoke with Speaker Douglas and President Pender about the position, and I understand it's important to be highly approachable. I'm going to be an orientation leader this summer, so I got that covered, and also to just really help representatives pursue their initiatives. With my connections to the deans from each school and undergraduate studies over the year, working with them on FISCU, IPC, and various academic initiatives, I will easily be able to assist all the representatives. Thanks.
Questions for the Speaker? Representative O'Brien?
Are there any commitments next year, either in the fall or the spring, that maybe could impede on your abilities to function effectively as a Speaker?
If elected, this is the #1 priority, duty calls. And other than that, my activities are Sigma Nu, so it's this and Sigma Nu.
Representative Hoffman?
So I asked the other candidates the same question.
And I never get tired of hearing it.
Speaker Douglas did a good job when the team came in and it was a little hostile and emotional. So how do you see yourself handling that sort of situation when with a higher level of professionalism might need to be
Well, I think as speaker, like going off of your example, saying someone really hostile, like the president debate team came in, I think it's important to let them talk it out themselves, let them get that anger out. And I think as my job as speaker is to kind of like say to the person saying, hey, I understand how you're feeling. Let's try to move forward with this. Let's try to solve a problem so there's no more tensions between USG and the student group, because I want to emphasize the point that we're here for all student groups no matter what, and you have a right to be here and voice your opinion.
Representative Bagat?
Remember earlier this semester you and I were talking, you said you were thinking about going to study abroad next year. Is that still the case?
There's absolutely no guarantee of me going abroad. What's guaranteed is I'll do a good job for this if you elect me, and this will be a #1 priority. So,
Vice President Thompson, last question.
So, do you have any ideas to make GA fun?
GA fun. I don't think that word's in my vocabulary. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I do. We will go with, I want to, something I really liked years past is like, phrase of the day. I really like that, just to get it open. What are we talking about? So, but no. I think it's really important for me as a speaker to just bring the energy to the assembly, and I don't know. I will pull every resources, every smart line, anything, humor necessary to make this not so super serious. Okay, I don't have to give board reports anymore, so you don't have to worry about that.
Thank you, Vice President, Representative. Audio's off. As soon as our audio is muted, we're going to have a very serious discussion about all of this. This is conducive to my Pink Lobster pants. open nominations once again for treasurer. Currently nominated are Nathan Mikowski, Peggy Moser, and Jaisal Shah. As a reminder, we are electing 2 treasurers. Are there any other nominations? Okay. Nominations are now closed. We will be going in alphabetical order by last name. For Representative Moser and Representative Shah, could please step outside. Representative Mikowski, you have 30 and a minute.
All right. Hello, USG. My name is Nathan Mikowski, and I'm a current sophomore, so I'm going to be a junior next year. So I would really like to be treasurer, and I think this is a position that would be really good for me. I would really enjoy it. And this year I've met with current treasurer Shah a number of times during her office hours, and she's been really nice in helping me understand the roles and practices of treasurer. And so she's taught me a lot about disbursements, and I'm really eager to learn more about that. I went to Mass Funding to find out about how the Finance Committee really does their work, and that's been it was a great experience for me. And next year, I'm going to have a bit of free time. I've planned my schedule out because I know how much time treasurer is, so I have that in mind that I will be working for many hours every week if I'm treasurer. And I think it's a job I could do a lot of changes to, and it's a job that I think I could hold a lot of the positive changes that Treasurer Shah has done, like doing disbursements constantly throughout the year instead of letting them pile up. I think that's really good, and I've also been trying to figure out Collegiate Link and how that works best. And any questions?
Questions for the speaker, Representative Lupton.
You mentioned you spoke with Treasurer Shah.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea, I guess just estimate how much time per week goes into being treasurer?
Oh, it's certainly a lot. I'd say she probably puts in at least 8 hours or more with office hours and all of that.
Vice President Weber?
I just want to clarify something you said.
Sure.
Jays will never let the disbursements pile up. It's just, she can only do them when the group's turn. So,
Yeah, that's what I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions for the speaker? Vice President Thompson. Mr. Thompson.
The treasurer is a thankless position, and you'll frequently get into maybe, say, disagreements with student groups, possibly. Have you ever had a position where this was the case before, or are you prepared to deal with it?
Yeah, I think I would be pretty prepared. I've been involved with Case Model UN. I'm president of the Russian Club, and I'm also in a fraternity. So I know a lot of people on campus. I know a lot of groups. I've interacted with a lot of groups, and I think that alone will, having personal connections will really help me kind of smooth out some ruffled feathers. And in many ways, I think the treasurer is kind of like an ambassador from USG to student groups, because that's the person they see for all the funding, and that's probably for a lot of groups that's their biggest connection to USG. So I do think I would be prepared to work with other people.
Representative Fernandez. Representative Lupton.
Have you served on finance or currently serving on finance? I can't remember you saying.
No, I'm on academic affairs. But
Thank you, Representative Mikowski.
All right.
You're good. You can step outside. I think you already voted. Moser, please. Peggy.
Hi, I'm Peggy Moser, obviously running for treasurer. I would like to be treasurer because I've served on the finance committee for the past year as secretary, and I've actually really enjoyed my time on it. Like, I feel like I feel like I'm really being able to interact with the student groups. And from my position as secretary, I'd like to become more involved with finance and the finance committee and act as treasurer. I think I'm qualified because I'm going to have a fairly light workload this next semester and hopefully the following semester too if I play my cards right. So I think I will definitely be able to have the time to be treasurer. Also, I'm good with computers. I'm good with numbers. I think I'm fully qualified for this position. And if you want to hear any more about me, read my letter of intent.
Questions for the speaker? Representative Mueller?
You said you're good with numbers. Are you good with people? How would you handle an angry student group?
To handle an angry student group, you know, I'd say it takes patience. I mean, I feel a lot of times they're just mostly misinformed, like there's been some sort of miscommunication, and it's really just kind of resolving that miscommunication and making sure they understand, you know, our side of it and making sure that I understand why they're upset and angry.
Vice President Weber?
Peggy, have you ever been in charge of a budget?
Charge of what?
A budget?
Not really, no. But I'm sure it's something that I could learn. I feel I'm a fast learner, and it's something I would be able to do well.
Parliamentarian Brubaker?
Have you spoken with Treasurer Shaw about the position?
Not really, no.
Representative Lupton?
So are you really excited and are you prepared to put in the hours that it'll take?
Yeah, I'd say I definitely am. Like I've been really mulling over the idea of being treasurer for the past probably since the election. I've really been thinking about it and thinking about something I want to do. And I think that, yes, it is something I want to do.
And you have been on finance, correct?
Yeah, I've been on finance for the past year as secretary.
Senator Hamilton?
How comfortable do you feel with legion?
I actually feel pretty comfortable, to be honest. Since I was given administrative duties for doing all the mass funding and stuff, I actually went through and I actually looked through a lot of the different tabs just to see what they actually did, mostly out of curiosity. But so yeah, I feel like I am comfortable. I'm quick at picking up computer type things.
Representative Hoffman?
Can you elaborate a little bit on like how involved your role as secretary was?
As secretary, I would take notes for all meetings, usually just kind of going over what, you know, decisions we made in finance committee, notes to people to do things. I would take notes for all appeals and stuff so that we could have a just a basis of notes to go off of when we were actually looking over the forms.
Ms. Cross, last question.
Since you've been thinking about it for so long, did you speak to anyone about the position?
I've spoken to a handful of people around discussing what they thought of me running.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Please step out. Oh, hey. What's going on? No? 30 in a minute, Jaisal.
Okay. Most of my letter of intent already is self-explanatory, but the work that I've been committed to in my time with USG. But to clarify a couple things, I've been treasurer for all the school year. I've been very comfortable working with all the student groups and as well as doing disbursements in a timely manner. And I'm really excited about taking the next step, which is making changes and improving the treasurer position now that I've seen all of it, or so I think. But I feel that I'll be really prepared for the challenges ahead, and I'm really looking forward to working with USG and all of exec again next year. And finally, I would like to thank everyone for their support in helping me with being supportive of my position, and I wouldn't have done it without, like I wouldn't be doing my disbursements with confidence and as happily as I do them now. So I'm open to points.
What up? Any questions for Ms. Shah? Representative Lupton.
What did you learn throughout this? What's the one big thing that you took away?
I took a lot away. I felt like I was kind of like thrown into the position. I mean, I learned a lot of things really quickly when I got into the position, but one thing that I really...
One thing you've learned this year that you wish you had known before?
Well, I knew that it would be a lot of time. I just didn't know that you would be spending a lot of time engaging yourself in what student groups want when it comes to their allocations. So I've had student groups come into me and talk to me. I wasn't exactly sure how I'd do that, but I was able to converse with them and happily explain, you know, everything they need to know about their budget.
Representative Matthews?
Jason, because I know you're going to win, how will you work with the other treasurers? How will you work to streamline disbursements next year?
Well, if I became treasurer, since I've already know like a lot of the things, a lot of the problems that they might have with doing disbursements, so I'll keep it easy on them to learn the basics first, like doing simple disbursement forms, and then doing like simple filing and like understanding the budget. And like as time goes on, I'll like add a little more to what they're doing. That way, if they have any questions or if they're confused, they can always come to me and ask me about it, rather than me just piling on, giving them everything, and them being even more confused.
Okay. Last question, Representative Awapudi. Did I get it?
Having served as past treasurer, what is one thing you'd like to change if you become treasurer again?
From a couple of mistakes that I've made, I've learned that being organized, like as disbursements are turned in, they're turned in, they have the date written on them, like when they're turned in. I would like to make sure that I've done those disbursements within the 2 to 3 week range, because they start, whenever they're turned into the box, they're stacked on top of each other as time passes. And I usually start with the stack from the top to bottom. And I should probably change that to where purchase card requests are done first, because those students need to get hold of the P card as soon as possible. And second, it would go according to, in a chronological order. So that's how I would hope disbursement forms are processed next year.
Thank you, Ms. Shah. Please step out. Thanks, buddy. So how's everyone's day? I forgot that it was lost. No one else is leaving. Just Hulu. All right, as you are voting, and keep in mind, if you are an elected representative for next year and you're running for a position, you should be voting, probably for yourself, and that's okay. We're now going to move into secretary elections. We have 2 nominees right now, Kevin Moeller and Ashley Wade. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, nominations are now closed. Ms. Wade, would you please step outside?
Am I good?
Take it away.
All right. Hello, General Assembly of the Future. My name is Kevin Moeller. I'm a freshman chemistry major, and I'm running for the position of secretary. I believe that this is a position that I'm not only qualified to hold, but I would love to hold. As secretary, I would use my experience taking minutes as IFC rep for Sigma Nu, as well as for various clubs in high school. I would love the opportunity to welcome and prepare new members for USG. I think that's the coolest thing that the secretary does now because of the new position description. I think it's awesome. I've learned a lot about USG and how things work here from my experience as stores rep this year. I think I've shown my passion for this organization through the time and effort I've put in it over the past year as stores rep and election commissioner and just living in the USG office basically. So I'm open to questions.
Questions for Mr. Moeller? Representative Moeller, are you elected for next year?
No, because I couldn't run.
Mr. Moeller. Anyone have questions? Treasurer Shaw.
So although at the beginning of the year I kind of was like, I want to be involved in everything. I'm super freshman, but I've sort of found what I actually like doing, and that's going to be next year. It's going to be USG, Sigma Nu, and SLJC.
There you go. Miss Sanford.
Recently, the secretary has taken on the new role of doing some representative development. What are some of your ideas?
I would love to use the website that I was so giddy about earlier. I thought that was so cool. Basically just using all the tools that I'm going to learn in SLGC next year also at orientation, just learning how to, have people ready for USG, basically.
What questions? Thank you, Mr. Moeller. Please step outside. Floor is yours, Ms. Wade.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Ashley Wade, and as most of you know, I haven't been on GA very long. I just started as an at-large rep last semester, but I've become very passionate and excited about undergraduate student government. It's kind of been fun. So I really want to run for the position of secretary. I spoke with Amy and another past secretary, Mega, and understand that there's a few responsibilities, mostly working with exec and fostering the communications between exec and GA, taking minutes at both GA and exec meetings, so I need to be in attendance at all those meetings and make sure I'm sending out those meetings. Because if I don't, everybody notices that I completely messed up, which is very important, not to mess up. Also being available to make and do any other USG publications that exec or the president needs me to do. Another important aspect that I see is the rep development program. For that, I would like to keep going with the representative binders. I think they're very important, but another aspect I want to implement is having programs to help new representatives understand how to use those binders and navigate through them so they know how to do different things with them, how to program them, how to use that information, how it's going to be beneficial for them. Another important thing that I want to do is start fostering communication between individual representatives and exec. I want to work with the speaker on this. I want to be able to work with individual representatives so they're comfortable starting their own initiatives outside of the caucus and making sure that they're comfortable balancing all of their outside work outside of undergraduate student government along with everything else that's going on. last year there was a lot of positions that had to be replaced because of people had to drop out or step down because there was too much going on. So I think making this position, helping them balance and transition things would be really beneficial to keep everybody involved in GA and everybody going off to a great start. Anybody have any questions?
Questions for Ms. Wade? Vice President Thompson.
Do you have any experience taking minutes?
Yes, I do have lots of experience taking minutes. In my letter of intent, I expressed a position that was in DECA, a high school marketing organization. I took a lot of minutes for that in my high school. I was the secretary and president. And also this last year on UPB concerts, I was called the public relations chair, so I was responsible for running all of our committee meetings, taking minutes, sending those out, and then also responding to any emails from agencies or artists that people wanted to contact us about booking artists. So did that all this last year.
Representative Hamilton.
What other time commitments do you have
Next school year, mostly my sorority, which is not really too much of a time commitment for me. I'm just a chapter goer, but and then also University Programming Board. So.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Wade.
Okay.
All right. 2 candidates, 4 minutes for discussion. Let's go. Vice President Agarwal.